All right, so I demonstrated so far how to draw in chords, how to play the root in a lower octave, or how to draw it, and doubling up with a pad, putting in some drums. I'm going to do the same exact thing by playing everything so that we just review that a bit. So remember, I already have my instruments. I'm going to leave that as is. In order to prepare a track to be recorded on, you must press the record enable button. So I already have my sounds. I want an octave up. So I'm playing on the MIDI controller. And I might fool around and see what happens. But my aim is to have those long chords, sustained chords, and then I'll, do a little rhythm or something. But I'm not drawing this. I'm playing this on a piano MIDI controller. All right, so I know I want 8 measures. So trim that down. I'm going to go ahead and quantize it since you guys know what that is now. I noticed that I played that second chord rather quiet. Now, quantizing, just a note on it. Once you're quantized, it becomes harder to move sometimes certain notes and things like that. Often, if I'm just going to do 4 or 8 measures, and this is a personal choice, don't quantize, and I'll go in and move them by hand. There's some other things about quantizing, like adding some swing value, which attempts to humanize, because we aren't robots. We don't play music perfectly to the grid. But for this case, I'm just gonna let's try it at 15%. All right, now instead of copying this for the bass line, I'm gonna try and just play it. All right. All right, I just want to get a little embellishment in there. Here we go. All right, now you'll notice my little notes here are off. But first, let's quantize it, assuming I'm close enough, which may not be the case. And 4 measures. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change those notes and those notes. And why do I keep getting these random notes? So those two sounded good. Those needed to come down a whole step. bass line. If I wanted to do some drums again, that one, I was doing some sort of late snare drum, and it did not happen at all. So again, this is what I was saying. For me, I'd rather just spend a few moments doing this by hand than pressing a button. It sounds weird, I know. I gotta listen to some of this. Some producers out there are like, what is this guy doing? Or some producers are like, yeah, I do that too. On. I'm going to add some hi-hats. I have a double there because it looped on itself. Now this I might go back and just hit quantize on top, because the other ones are already fixed. Or, even better, to be honest, this is the kind of thing just to bring back the line tool and to draw in some eighth notes, which is what I'm playing. It's certainly going to take a lot less time. But now I need to adjust. Remember that when you draw, your velocities are much lower, generally speaking, than when you play. Like, totally, and it sounds totally different. All right, so now we have a slightly different version because we played it. And remember, you can always change tones. You don't like this particular drum, bass tone. I don't know what is any better right now. Dirty dog. Change sounds, make it sound very, very different. And don't forget, you can also change instruments altogether. And usually it will work out pretty well. So if I put battery in here, which is a much more complex instrument just for drums, drag a drum track over here. See, in here, what we're hitting that's normally a hi-hat. If I just drag this over, now I'm going to have a hi-hat. shaker. I don't like that kick. I'm going to take this one, move it over. It went to a shaker again. It went to a shaker again. Ah, I see what's happening. Don't hit return when you're using battery, or it puts your customizations back to the default. All right, so that was real quick. Playing chords and bass and drums.